Alright, recording 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. This is Lee over at 3d-Palace, and I'm joined today with.
Hey, it's me, Blue, old blue, or very old blue, depending on how old you think I am. How's it going?
Yeah, I'd say it's going pretty well, but what do I know?
Hey, it's going great here. I'm sitting in a sunbeam in a nice place in Jesmond, whilst Mrs. Old Blue's got an appointment on, so this is as good a time as any for us to talk about what's happening with 3D Palace.
I'm sitting in front of my computer drinking coffee.
I was going to say, there's got to be coffee there. There can't not be coffee.
Oh, there's definitely coffee.
That's what I like to hear. Okay, so we have got a plan, mostly written by Lee because he's way more organised than I am. But nonetheless, it is 4 different kinds of tutorial, I believe we've got planned, isn't it? I can't bring up my document because I'm recording. Obviously, it's my phone at the moment, unfortunately. But would you like to start the ball rolling there, Lee?
Well, the first thing that we wanted to talk about was the commercial sets coming out. What we're
Oh,
working on.
Christ, yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I mean, obviously, I've just finished that one for China, so there's no point in me talking about that because that's not going on the Palace. Even though obviously it'll have a feedback on the Palace. But you've been working on a commercial set, which is I always forget what is it the Storm, Storm Eagle? What's it called, Lee? Tell us.
Well, we got the first one with Storm Talon. That one's
Storm
finished.
Talon. Jesus, I always forget what they're bloody called. That's right, that one's finished. Although we're going to go over and do a bit of texturing on it, I think, using triplanars and Quixel. Ideally, I think you're going to do that, but I'll give you I'll give you a bit of a heads up on how I do it, so that we can kind of zoom that through. That'll be part of the commercial set coming out now. How's that going to be released, Lee? We've decided, haven't we?
I think we said it was going to be on 3D Palace for sale. It's going to be
That's
part.
correct.
It's going to be part of the Patreon page, our members area.
That's right. And also, I think we'll probably put it up on Udemy because the people in Udemy have no actual connection to reality whatsoever. They just live on Udemy. I've never fully understood those guys. And so it'll be released there too. Now, we haven't came up with our solid structured pricing plan yet because it used to be the tutorials were sold in dollars. And I think we're going to go back to selling tutorials in dollars. So I think what's going to happen is Lee and I are going to get our heads together and work out what a reasonable amount to charge now for tutorials is, based on the fact that the leaders of our various countries are stamping on our economy good and proper and telling us things are wonderful. So not politics, but we need to work out what a good price is really for our set. But we will know that very shortly, I would imagine. It's going to be easier than just throwing a ballpark figure straight into this conversation. Now, for a Deme, as I've mentioned before, now I have got, in my last tutorial I put on a Deme, I've sold 100 copies at $85 a set. Now, Lee, use your skills at maths, okay, and tell me, if I sell 100 sets, okay, at $85 each, how much will I get?
That's $8,500.
Or if you're with a Deme, that's $94. Because a Deme, what they do is they take a tutorial and they just put it up at some sort of a random arbitrary price. And they don't ask your permission. However, it does lead to us getting a minor income. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the setup on Udemy, and obviously 3D Palace will get the money coming in from that set. But that'll be a very up and down random amount, unfortunately, because the Deme are not great to work with. With them, it tends to be bulk. The more stuff we put on them, obviously, the better. But this isn't about milking you guys. It's just about keeping 3D Palace running. Now, Patreons. Patreons are great. We love Patreons, don't we, Lee?
Oh, absolutely love the Patrons.
We love the Patreons. We think about them every night before we go to bed. And interestingly enough, you see, it's like the 3 levels of sensibleness in my mind. Okay, you've got the guys on a Deme who are kind of paying whatever Deme tells them to pay, and then we get paid basically buttons and peas. We've got the ones that sell through 3D Palace, which will be an amount to be decided in dollars over the next week. And then we have the patrons, and the patrons pay, $10 per month and get absolutely everything. Now, I don't know about you, Lee, but if I was a patron, I'd be thinking, if I was someone thinking about getting a tutorial set, I'd be thinking to myself, Patreon's probably the way to go, to be quite honest. But you'd be amazed at how many people don't, funnily enough. I mean, when the tutorial actually comes out, a lot of people are going to rush over to get your Storm Talent set, which is cool, fantastic, and it'll support the site, support you. But people who are patrons, man, they get every single damn tutorial set. So it's quite a surprise, really, that not more people use it.
Well,
Anyway, that's just...
Patreons not only get the Storm Talon, but they also get the Viper that you just finished.
Yeah, that's right. I completely forgot about the Viper set that I've just finished, which incidentally I'll also be putting up as a paid tutorial set, and that will also be going on at Deme. Because you know what? The people of Deme, like I say, they have a strange psychological disconnect from the rest of us, so we may as well use that. Anyway, I'm going to have to rush forward a bit, Lee, and we can talk about what's happening now, because we've got Stage 1 and Stage 2 of development, because we'd like to ideally release a tutorial part literally every day. So tell me about 1 and 2, which is what you're handling.
Alright, for YouTube, we're going to be doing 4 new series.
That's right.
We have Series 1 and Series 2, which is Series 1 is the shipyards, or something along those effects. We haven't really named it yet. But basically what it is you guys, the viewers, are going to help me design some original starships.
That's going to be cool.
And then we're going to do this through the comments section and probably some straw polls. And each series is going to last about 20 episodes or so. And when it's done, the ship itself is going to go up on Gumroad and 3d-Palace, and you guys are going to be able to buy it.
Yeah, that's going to be absolutely cool. That really is. Because, I mean, that's one thing about your spaceships. No one can say your spaceships aren't detailed and practical looking. So we're going to get some fantastic looking stuff coming through on there. Now, obviously, that's going to run for, I think, what was the plan? 2 parts per week?
Each series is going to be 2 parts per week.
That's right. So that'll run for 10 weeks per ship, obviously. So that's going to be really cool.
Right. And then the second series that we have is the Junkyard. Now, the Junkyard is going to be how I show you guys how I come up with my ideas for Griebels.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a really important set, and obviously a lot more advanced, a lot more kind of heading away from basic and intermediate, and much more into kind of the person who wants to do this on a more kind of professional or even serious hobby level. Because, I mean, good greebeling and good asset management are really the keystone of that kind of thing. So I think you're going to be showing some really useful stuff there, Lee.
So each season we're going to take about maybe between 5 and 10 pictures, references that we find on Google, and we're going to break them down, and we're going to find the parts that we like as far as, detail goes. And we're going to start making some Griebel sets, some Griebel libraries.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there are Griebel libraries out there, but a lot of them aren't really rooted in reality. In that, I mean, one of them I've got 12 million polygons. And of course, once you start duplicating your Griebels a couple of times, you're going to be looking at a set that'll bring even the mightiest computer to its knees at come render time. So I think a Griebel set really for people who are going to be building big detailed ships is essential and will really go down really well.
So, and then Chris, you have two series that you were looking at doing.
That's right. I've only penciled them in the document because I do apologize. Lee's way more document minded than I am. But set 3 and set 4, because we're going on Q2, Q4 this year, mostly on sci-fi and spaceships rather than robots. Set 3 is going to be, or Project 3 is going to be all about building internal parts of a large space station. And it's going to be a large space station built in a kind of an imperial style, so it's all going to be kind of straight edges, imperialistic, lots of dark parts, things like that. And the good thing about this is that I plan on doing it in a kind of a modular way. And so by doing it in a modular way, I want to be able to use it not only in film and TV style VFX, but also be able to pull it into a game engine for use actually inside a game if you were going to be building game levels and things like that. Because obviously we may as well get as much use out of it as possible. I'll be taking ideas obviously from the guys on the channel and the guys in Discord and the Patreons, just to see where we're going with this and kind of build it around what they want. And again, like Lee does with his spaceship, eventually I'll release the entire asset set through 3d-Palace and through Gumtree. Is it Gumtree or Gumroad?
It's Gumroad.
Gumroad. Gumroad. Gumtree's like a bring and buy sale on the internet. I keep forgetting that. Yeah, so I'll put mine on there, but I'm going to be doing again, as everyone who knows my workflow now, I'll be building a lot of textures using Quixel, and I'll be using a lot of kind of speedy methods for unwrapping and for application of textures. But most of the time I'm going to be building mid-poly. I'm not going to be building high or low poly. And the good thing about building mid-poly is that it can be used in game, TV, film, advertising, just about anything. So we're not going to have to do tons and tons of optimization or building different models just to get it into kind of a game asset system. Now, this leads me on to 4, or Project 4, and this is going to be aimed at doing outside areas again, and move away from doing spaceships for me. Not spaceships, robots for me rather. I am going to create a dock, a port, a spaceship port. I'm going to basically use as inspiration kind of what Star Wars has been doing since A New Hope, and coming up with a nice dusty outside area with lots of landscapes. And I'm going to be taking ideas off people on what to do for populating it using I wasn't going to do it, but I'm telling you now, little robots, little vehicles, things like that. So we're going to get a real busy hustle bustle kind of place. We're going to build some people slowly and eventually and have it populated perhaps by some troopers and things like that. Not Star Wars troopers, because that's very copyright intensive, but you kind of get the idea. We're just going to build a living, working kind of port city. Again, assets from that will end up on 3d-Palace and will end up on Gumroad. How does that sound to you, Lee?
Now, each series, like I said, is going to run about 20 episodes per season.
That's right. So obviously mine will be broken up with characters being 20 parts and things like that, just in case you were wondering. It's just not a continuation forever and ever.
Right. Now, each series is going to be uploaded twice a week. The way it's going to work is, for an example, Monday's going to be Fleet Yard, Tuesday would be Junkyard, Wednesday would be the port, Thursday would be the station internal, and then Friday would be back to the Fleet Yard, Sunday would be...
And I think a double release on Sunday probably, just to kind of catch up. Yeah, because that would make more sense. And then if we mention now, obviously, as part of our ongoing plans, on Thursday now will be live streaming day, which will be around about 7 p.m. British time, which is about 1 p.m. Eastern Standard, is that?
It would be Central Daylight, so we're 5 hours ahead. We're 5 hours behind you.
Right, so that'd be about 2 p.m. then for Central.
Between
so
1 and 2.
About 2 p.m. for you guys, and about 7 p.m. for the UK, and about 7 in the morning for Australia. Bad luck, guys. Regarding the podcast will still go out between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. every Wednesday. It might not hurt, actually, to make this a part of the podcast or append it to the podcast, because getting something interesting like this, obviously, people are going to be really interested in. And then the rest of the week, really, I think, for the minute, it's going to be based on us just working our little bums off, isn't it, Lee?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
so
man.
I've already got my schedule set, so...
Yeah, I've got mine done now, although I'll add it to the calendar, because I tell you what, right, if you're English and you've never worked with Americans, no disrespect, Lee, you guys love organisation and calendars. You really... It's terrifying. Lee added his calendar to my calendar, and suddenly it was just filled with big, scary blocks. It's terrifying, man. But yeah, I'll be keeping more or less the same. As you know, there's a couple of days that I can't do recording on, but I make up for that in early morning or late night anyway, so that's not a problem.
Well, just keep in mind those blocks are only to show blocks of time where either I'm available or I'm unavailable.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
That's all it means.
Oh, hells yeah. Right then, so is there anything else you think we need to cover? Because to be quite honest, I mean, as I was saying, you know, a year ago this would have been impossible. between 2 and 5 years ago, it would have been unthinkable, let alone impossible. But you know what? The time is right now, I think. And I think 3D Palace, we're at a point now where maybe, I won't say we're becoming massively relevant, but I will say we're at a point where we can do things that people want us to do again. And I think that's the important part.
Well, all I know is that I'm really excited. We got some really exciting stuff coming to the YouTube channel. We got some
Oh my God, yeah.
really exciting stuff coming to the paid tutorial section. We got some just really
Well, that's it. The
kick
patrons are
butt
going to
stuff
get
coming out.
absolutely loads. The YouTube users are going to get absolutely loads. People who use the website without actually logging in are still going to get an absolute shed load of material. Anyone who wants to drop money is still going to be able to get absolute value for money compared to anywhere else on the internet. And that's not hyperbole. I mean, when we're giving away, a 20-part set works out at, divide that by 3. So that's going to be about 7.5 hours. Well, no, just under 7 hours of full content. Of end-to-end tutorial for every 20-part set.
Mm-hmm.
Probably slightly more. I mean, people are going to get some fantastic value at that. I know I don't really upsell the damn thing particularly well because of my incredible kind of make-do British attitude, but you know what? 3D Palace has always been about this kind of stuff. It's always been about giving people as much as possible for as little as possible, and we're going to keep doing that. And we're going to do it, and we're going to do it better than all the other bloody websites can. Because when it comes to one thing we can excel at, we excel at hard service, dude.
That's true. Hard service and high detail.
Oh, hells yeah. Hard surface, high detail, and coffee.
Coffee. Lots of coffee.
Lots and lots of coffee.
Gotta have it.
Right. Gotta have the coffee, dude. David Lynch has his own brand of coffee now that's supposed to be one of the best coffees you can buy. I really need to get some of David Lynch's coffee.
If you get some, send some my way.
Hells yeah. I tell you what I'll do. When your set comes out, I'll buy us both a pack of David Lynch's coffee, and we shall celebrate with David Lynch coffee.
That sounds like a plan to me.
That is going to be cool.
Chris has to go because he has a podcast to be recording.
That's right. I am going to be heading off. 4 minutes' time, I've got another appointment. And then I think around about 6 p.m. my time, I'm going to be recording the podcast slightly late. But that's going to be on piracy, which I know has been one of your big bugbears. And I will be addressing it in quite an honest and forthright manner. Because it has been a massive problem, but it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be.
We're not. We won't. I will not discuss piracy at this particular time. It's still a raw subject for me.
Don't you worry, dude. Don't you worry. I'll hug it all away. Anyway, I am going to get a move on. So it's been great talking with you, Lee, and I shall chat to all the guys on 3D Palace and Discord and all those other sexy, sexy places later too. And ta-ta.
Right. And from Chris and I to all the viewers, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.